I have no idea if this is working. Maybe. Can y'all even see me? Or hear me too? Well, that's really slow. You see me, can you hear me? Is there audio? Dude, okay. Well, I apologize for delay/challenges. So apparently, we're all going to learn something here today. For those of you who don't do live streaming, apparently there's two ways you can do it. If you want to do it from your phone, you have to have enough followers and people and stuff like that to meet some eligibility requirements, aka you probably got to be a somebody, which I am not. The other way to do it is if you do it on your computer, they now want you to have an encoding software. Damn, look at that, I do. Okay. So anyway, I'll stop complaining about the YouTube challenges. I may have it figured out for now, but bear with me if things are tinkered with along the way. I had to learn a software in about 8 minutes, so I'm surprised this works. Cheers. Oh, wait. Cheers. Oh, another thing, it's really hard to find good coffee that isn't already ground, by the way, if you don't have like a specialty shop. The audio is a little auto-tuned sounding. Well, I guess I'll have to... Oh, wait, let's try this. Okay, can you still hear me? Like, still hear me, y'all? Yeah? Maybe? I put a microphone thing in here and I don't know if it's gonna ruin it. Alright. I sound like Optimus Prime? Is it worse than... Dude, that's whack. I don't like T-Pain. God damn it. Let's see here. I can tinker with settings. Let's try this. How's that sounding? Is that better? Yeah, I could just get fancy and order something. I just like woke up and went to my local grocery store that I normally get stuff, but is it still really horribly auto-tuned and whatnot? Does it sound that bad? How that? See, this is what you get for tinkering with stuff. I like dark roast. Dude, this is hilarious. Like, it's cool that we got it working, but like I don't feel like we have it working well enough. It's worse, okay? What about now? Is it back to being all wacky? Alright. I still have my feelings about YouTube and what they've done. But anyway, we're here, and we're making it work, and I've got coffee. Dark roast has less caffeine. That's probably good for me. I don't need much caffeine. I'm always pretty wiry. Auction? getting me a record deal. That's a bad investment, Ed. So, I happen to randomly have today off, which is why we're here. I do want to bring this segment back. There's a good chance it'll be like a Thursday thing, though, which isn't the end of the world because the way YouTube works is that you can just leave it up there and y'all can catch it later. So, tell us about Carpondros. I don't know anything about Carpondros other than I don't want any. Yeah, I haven't been catching any of the streams and stuff. The zoo's been crazy, Ed. It's been a lot of stuff going on and me learning a whole bunch of different areas and stuff. Working with species that I never have worked with that are not reptiles, amphibians, or others. So that's kind of a learning curve. I've never worked with kangaroos or wallabies before, and emus. Like, emus are really big, and I can't stop looking at their feet. So you've got a jungle jag sib female. I had her for a year as a yearling when I got her. You might want to give her at least a full another year, depending on how big she is. I wish I had more of a reference for weight to size because I really don't weigh my animals. So yeah, you just snag your first ATB. Nice. Pretty soon it'll be snagging you. I don't even get my hands on many of them. They're just crazy. Am I finding some new animal loves? I really do love okapi. They're pretty dope. The problem is, like, I'm really allergic to grass hay, so I have to be careful with what I'm working with because some of it requires grass hay as food or bedding, and it really gets me some serious allergies. Emu are pretty cool. I just wish ours were a little more trustworthy. I guess I shouldn't say that. They're fine to work with, but, like, you gotta know what you're doing. One of the things that I thought would be cool, because a lot of people really like the updates, is what I've got going on with the maternal incubation clutch, right behind me here, actually. Oh, there's a big glare from that light. Here, let me fix that. It's the problem with shooting in the snake room. There's a lot of glass. Is that better? A little. Anyway, moving on. You can see the nest box, right? Oh, no, other way, Riley. Right there, okay? So that is, I think it's like a 16-quart nest box. Probably smaller than what would be more comfortable and ideal because a lot of people use the big tough tubs, like the rubber tubs. I've had these for a while and wanted to try them out again. And it's filled with sphagnum moss. And I initially put it on the heat over there, and I put it in. I think I put it in like the day after she had her post-op shed. So she had access to that nest box for a little, like about 3 weeks before she deposited eggs. And what I was able to do was get a temperature probe. The reader's in there right now, and just take daily temps. If you're curious at all what this looks like, I'm just keeping track of the, excuse me, the highs, the lows, and the humidity high and low, both in the cage as an ambient and in the egg box. Like the probe it's in there, it's taped to the top, and it's dangling right down, and based on how she laid, it's literally like right on her head, right on top of the clutch. So it's not in the clutch, but it's getting a really good reading. So if the MI is successful, do you plan on letting females MI more often, or is this just a fun experience? Yeah, I do. I would like to do MI more, like at least 1 or 2 each year, assuming I'm getting decent clutches on a regular basis like that. And the reason being is my hypothesis for what's going on here might lend to that. And if any of you have ever done like science experiments in school and like the teacher makes you start a hypothesis, they always tell you there's a good chance you're not going to land on it at the end, and it'll probably change several times over. So my hypothesis is a couple things. One is that she knows what's best. She's going to move the box where she wants. She's going to regulate the temperatures, assuming there's a cool enough range for her to influence things up. If it's too hot, she can't really cool them down, right? That's hard to do. So my thoughts are keeping things at like a good ambient, so she has the control of bumping things up should she want, and then that would create an environment that she feels is suitable to MI the internal or the entire way, and just go start to finish. So the first is basically make sure. I think having an environment like that is probably the way to go. Then the second part is what the babies are going to come out like, as far as size and like vitality, like how big are they, how soon do they get on food, things like that. And then I'll also have the duration of their incubation time to pair with that information, so I could say potentially, if I do it multiple times, that MI does in fact produce a slightly longer incubation period, but the babies come out either bigger, more robust, and eat faster potentially. It'll take a few years and a lot more clutches to sort of pull together, because even if that does happen with one clutch, that's just one clutch, right? So you got to be able to repeat it multiple times over to show that it is a consistent thing. So I do intend on doing this a lot more. We'll see. At the zoo, we don't really have anything breeding at the zoo as far as the reptile collection goes. We are trying to breed some flat-tailed tortoises, which are like that big. What's up, Ed? Adam, what's up? Dang, I wasn't paying attention. A bunch of y'all just jumped on. Yeah, it is pretty neat. I'm hoping to see what happens. How do I regulate humidity with the box? I don't. When I set up the box, I gave the sphagnum moss, because it started out dry. I gave it a good spray, turned it over, fluffed it up, gave it another good spray just to even out the moisture in there, and I just let it be. Haven't touched it since. Right now, the walls look kind of dry, but if I pull it out and I pop the lid, I would probably find a little bit of condensation on the top. Not much, though. But let's see. So when she first went into the nest box and she was like, she still hadn't laid yet, we were getting humidity range from 69 as a low all the way up to, looks like we hit 87 or 88, and that's a fluctuation in a 24-hour period. So there was some decent humidity in there already, and the reason why I sort of aimed that high to begin with is because after Eric Burke and Rob and who else went on that trip? After those guys went to Australia last year, Eric was recollecting the feel of the environment to him, where they found a few different animals, and in jungle territory, he was like basically saying how remarkable it was that it was so humid, which you didn't expect. So I aimed for a little bit higher humidity. I could have just left the moss dry, and it would have probably resulted in slightly lower. But I think she also would have the ability to increase the humidity either by like urinating in there, or I did see her leave the nest box a couple times and do some laps around. So maybe she went through a lap, went through her water dish, and then went back in. Like, she could always do that. I'm not entirely sure what other way she could, but since she laid, we've been sort of staying pretty much in a little bit higher humidity range. Looks like There's one anomaly, which was the day when I pulled her out and I was taking photos and letting air out. But it looks like the low so far has only been 73% humidity in there, and the high as 86 right now. So I don't know if I can like say anything after her only being in there with eggs for like 5 days to say if it's going to stay in a tighter range or not. But it'll be interesting to find out one way or the other. But she's only like 5 days into having eggs, so we got a long way to go. On another note, the first clutch that was laid for my imported Papuan female, those eggs are on day 42, I believe, and I'm incubating them at 87. They're only now just starting to dimple a little bit, which is pretty common for viable python eggs to start doing in the last 3-4 weeks before they hatch, because in theory what's happening is the babies are beginning to grow and absorb all the fluid and nutrients in there, and so that it's an airtight sort of thing, so if it's being depleted, it's going to suck in, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, we're around the corner from that. This Xanthic coastal girl is due to lay eggs within the next 10 days, probably. And then the zebra girl in about 17 days. And should have children's python clutch within the next month, and maybe one more coastal clutch if I see what's going on. So October Tinley. I keep telling myself one of these years I'll get out to Tinley. I really need to. Let's see, October. It's a weekend. It could be doable, because it would just be a flight and then bumming it around on some poor suckers who want to let me into their hotel room or their house or whatever, or I'll just sleep on the lobby somewhere. So, yeah, Ryan, I think if we had a lot more data that reflected what's going on in the eggs and the egg boxes and nests and things, it'd be really cool to like sort of see if there's any trends one way or the other for species or localities, or if all of them sort of do the same thing or what. My friend Tony Dora of Revision Reptiles has been tinkering with a lot of different data loggers and weather readers, and right now he's on these ones that he's super hyped on, and I think I might get some as well. He's got like 5 like little data loggers that he can put in, and it reads everything, and then he's got they come with like a digital like iPad looking display thing, so he can basically get real-time feedback of exactly what's going on in each cage, and it can graph and everything. So I think that's like a pretty cool thing to do, because he's monitoring these readings for the enclosures just year-round, and he can add them into nest boxes should females lay. He's a proponent of MI when the females will do it, so I think he'll be able to contribute some good stuff as well. So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah, that would be cool to get out to Tinley, especially the October one. It's sort of like the unofficial, like another carpet fest, because that's the one where they have carpet row. So. Surfing the event, bumming it like hamsters. Yup. Yeah. Should we pull out a snake? We should, huh? We can't have a stream without a snake, right? That would be just wrong. Blankets and pallets. Just make bunk beds everywhere. No, we're gonna leave you. Oh, you're rude. Hold that thought. Let's look at baby IJs. Baby pop ones. I love these little things. They're getting big too. So how many IJs you popping out this year? It'll just be 8. It was just one clutch of 8 good eggs. So just 8 perfect little angels. I'll hold this and try not to spill the water on my computer. So this is my most recent import baby female from none other than Dan at DM Exotics. Where are you going? And these things did not skip a beat as far as eating. They ate right away. They shed perfectly. They're just amazing. And she was just perching on the edge of her water dish. When did I feed her last? She ate on Thursday, so they're already taking hoppers. They're getting some size, and I'm starting to see some really nice light color coming in between all their patterns. So I expect these animals to have a lot of orange and some good contrast. So what up? That's not your toothbrush. Yeah, and we'll see, it'll be interesting to see how these babies compare to the ones that will be hatching here, because the parents that gave me that clutch of Papuans also came from Dan. So they started out as little tiny babies like this with me a couple years ago, like 3 years ago. And so I'll be curious to see, how different they may or may not look. Yeah, it'll be cool. Yeah, this thing's already got some great color. And I have some really dark ones that are not farmed, but they have import lineage and some traceable, good, pure bloodlines from some old stock. But they're really small for how old they are. So that was the female. Let's see where this dude's at. Yeah. Nailed it. He's in his little tube. Give a snake a tube. They like it. Do I think they're from the same lineage? That's a good question. There really isn't a way for us to know. The only way we would know how much variation those farms have is to know how many pairs they keep there for breeding and what other sources. Now, I will say that this batch of babies that I picked up some from, based on the numbers that I saw Dan with, and I helped him sex all of them, I think they're from at least 2 clutches, because he had almost 30 of them. So I would expect that was probably at least 2 clutches. They all looked really similar. So I think when you're getting imports, if you're getting a group from the same person, like if you're doing what I did and you got like a pair from Dan right there, you could probably safely assume that they're siblings. But there's no way to really know. But the thing is, it's pretty wild and fresh bloodlines. And if there's anything that reptiles are very oddly good at, is being able to breed with related individuals without any deleterious effects for several generations. So, but outcrossing is probably one of the best things you can do for any animals, especially ones that we can import now but probably won't be able to for very long, So for me, I'm sure you've all heard me say, get them while you can, because they might not be available tomorrow. So lately what I've been doing is every year just getting another pair of some more IJs just to keep the diversity around. And I've got 3 pairs right now. So I would imagine this guy might be related to that female, probably from the same clutch, but it's hard to say. I mean, how would I know? So, but I do think that these animals are unrelated to the pair that bred for me this year. The likelihood of the same pair producing year after year after year is possible, but given how much different those animals are, I don't know how much turnover the farms have in their breeders, because Dan does occasionally bring in some adults, so I don't know. Like, the only person who would know are the folks at the farm and who they've shared that with. So, but there's more than one farm, there's more than one importer, so, there's different variation there as well. For the sake of keeping track of bloodlines, if you start the R&R line of IJs and J from JOB's line, maybe they're actually the same. Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think we talked about that, or maybe the guys on NPR had a segment talking about that too, and I don't remember if I was involved in that, but I do recall it happening, and it was really interesting because, again, it comes down to we don't have all that information on this side of the world. We're not there. We don't really know, because we're not getting information like, these babies all came from this clutch, from this animal, and these, like, it's not that detailed. So he could have related animals. Or here's a really, like, I'll explain it right now. So these babies that I purchased, I also purchased a trio of them. So I picked 5 up, but that trio is going out to Eric Burke in PA once weather's nicer, which is probably soon. And we're probably going to assume that they're all related, right? So if I bred mine and started this line of my own individuals and kept breeding them back together to keep it going, and Eric did the same thing with his, they would essentially be the same line. Now, if he injected one other animal into that whole family tree from some other unrelated Papuans or IJs from somebody else's stock, and I didn't, then all of a sudden we have very different results. So, it's a multi-layered thing. So, yeah, let's call it. I'll go to Indo and check out the farms. I'm sure they'd love us. A bunch of crazy Americans who are obsessed with snakes coming over here and they want to inspect our farms. Yeah, right. So we got Dan and other importers. So, it's going to be a good year, hopefully. We'll see how these other clutches come out. There's some first-time females. Not the biggest ones either, so we shall see. No, go in there. Right. So that's that. How long have we been doing this now? Almost half an hour, right? Is that what I'm seeing? It's 9:15. Yeah, holy crap. All right, well, I think we'll call this a not failure. And if anybody is fluent in this software called OBS and knows anything about fixing the audio issues we're dealing with, so I don't sound like that annoying, talentless hack rapper, whatever his name is, T-Purple or something. Purple Pain, T-Pain. What's his, why can't everybody just go by the real name? Anyway, when do you guys need Travis? Yeah, we do need to get Travis out there more. He's a good dude. Alright. On that note, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to close this, but appreciate everyone coming back on and joining and hounding me to do this again. I promise I'll keep trying to do it. It'll probably shift to a Thursday thing, like I said. So yeah, I'll try and keep this going with regularity and consistency. But I got to do some learning on the software, clearly. So, All right, y'all. Love, peace, and chicken grease.